The entertainment world had always adored Yu Menglong for his charm, his clean image, and his ability to win hearts without scandal. But behind the glittering facade, he was a man increasingly at odds with a system that sought to control him. His death shocked millions. The true story of what led him to his tragic end was far darker than fans could have imagined. In a bombshell revelation, his mother described the final conversation she had with her son. A conversation filled with fear, regret, and an unmistakable sense that his days were numbered. And now, with Song Yiren's testimony before the court, a horrifying truth has emerged. Yu Menglong was not simply a victim of circumstance. He was targeted because he dared to challenge the powerful figures who ruled Chinese showbiz from the shadows. From the moment he entered the industry, Yu Menglong was different. While others bowed their heads, he held his high. While others surrendered to the demands of sponsors, officials, and backroom deal makers, he clung stubbornly to his independence. In the early days, his quiet resistance was tolerated, even admired. But as he grew more famous, his refusal to play by the rules turned him from an asset into a liability. His final years were defined by clashes with a man who believed they owned the industry. Clashes that would ultimately seal his fate. According to his mother's testimony, Menglong often called her late at night, his voice low and weary, telling her about the pressures he faced. "They want me to sit with them, to drink with them," whispered once, his words heavy with dread. "They treat me like an ornament, like a toy they can parade in front of their friends. But I don't want this life, Mom. I didn't become an actor for this." Tried to console him, but deep down she knew the forces he was up against were far greater than any individual could withstand. The breaking point came at a banquet that has since become infamous. High-ranking officials and entertainment tycoons gathered in a luxury club, the air thick with cigar smoke and the clinking of expensive glasses. Menglong was invited, or rather summoned, to join the evening. To the guests, presence was not optional. They expected him to sit, smile, and drink as a symbol of submission. But that night, something inside him snapped. When one particularly powerful figure, a senior executive with close ties to political leaders, raised a glass and demanded Yu Menglong drink in his honor, the actor refused. The room fell silent. Laughter turned to whispers. And then, in a moment that would be remembered as his act of ultimate defiance, Yu Menglong lifted his own glass and hurled the wine into the man's face. The banquet descended into chaos. Shocked gasps echoed through the room. Security rushed forward. But Yu Menglong stood his ground, his eyes blazing with the fury of a man who had endured too much humiliation. "I am not your puppet," he declared. According to a waiter who later spoke anonymously, "Your official," drenched and enraged, swore that Yu Menglong would regret it. From that night on, the young actor's fate was sealed. But the confrontation at the banquet was not the only reason powerful men wanted him gone. In the weeks that followed, Yu Menglong made a series of decisions that further antagonized the industry's overlords. Withdrew his investments from several major projects backed by influential investors with deep political ties. His move was seen as betrayal. Public refusal to support the very machinery that had helped elevate him. For the kingpins, this was unforgivable. Only had he humiliated one of their own, but he had also threatened their financial interests. He had crossed a line that no star was allowed to cross. His mother recalled how he spoke of the fallout with exhaustion in his voice. "Told me they were watching him," she said, her hands trembling as she recounted his words. He said, "Mom, I've made too many enemies. I don't know if I can survive this." Begged him to stay quiet, to apologize, find a way to make peace. But Yu Menglong refused. "Rather die standing than live on my knees," he told her. And in the end, those words became chillingly prophetic. What makes the story even more devastating is the role of Song Yiren, who has now been painted as a villain in the narrative but insists she was nothing more than another victim, facing the death sentence. He has revealed that she, too, was coerced by the same forces that destroyed Yu Menglong. Testified that she was pressured into covering up parts of the story, forced to play a role in the elaborate charade that disguised his murder as something else. "I never wanted to betray him," she told the court, tears streaming down her face. "They told me if I didn't do what they asked, I would end up just like him. I was trapped. I was a victim too." Her confession has added yet another layer of complexity to the tragedy. Instead of being seen as a co-conspirator, many now view Song Yiren as another casualty of the corrupt system. She was not the mastermind behind Yu Menglong's death but a scapegoat. Someone forced into silence and complicity by those with far more power. Her revelation has shifted public perception, igniting debates about how many others in the industry are silently enduring the same torment. The mother's account of her son's final call remains the most haunting part of the story. On that night, just hours before he was found dead, Menglong phoned her one last time. His voice was weak, stirred from the alcohol he had been forced to consume, filled with urgency. "They won't forgive me for what I did," he whispered. "Won't forgive me for pulling my money out. They won't forgive me for humiliating him. Mom, if anything happens to me, promise me you'll tell the truth." It was both a plea and a farewell, and she knew it. The next morning, the world woke up to the devastating news of his death. Fine truth, as revealed through both his mother and Song Yiren, is that Yu Menglong's murder was not random. It was not a crime of passion or a moment of madness. It is an execution, carried out by a system determined to protect its power and punish defiance. He became a target the moment he refused to submit. His fate was sealed when he dared to humiliate one of the most powerful men in the industry. The fallout has been explosive. They have rallied online, demanding justice with hashtags like Justice for Yu Menglong and Expose the Truth. Vigils have been held in cities across China, candles burning in memory of a young man who refused to bow. International media has picked up the story, claiming Yu Menglong is a martyr of artistic integrity, a man who lost his life because he would not compromise his values. Meanwhile, the entertainment industry is in turmoil, scrambling to distance itself from the scandal even as more names surface in the ongoing investigation. At the heart of it all remains the image of a mother, watching her son's memory like a fragile treasure, determined to honor his last request. "Ask me to tell the truth," she said. "So I will. He was killed because he was brave enough to say no. He was killed because he stood up when everyone else bowed down." Her words, raw and unfiltered, have cut through the noise of speculation and denial, forcing the world to confront the reality that beneath the glitter of fame lies a machinery capable of destroying anyone who resists. The revelations from Yu Menglong's mother and Song Yiren's testimony tore apart the carefully guarded walls of the entertainment industry. The police, emboldened by the courage of these two women, widened their net. What had started as whispers about coercion and corruption had now become a full-blown criminal investigation implicating some of the most powerful figures in showbiz. The banquet incident, once dismissed as gossip, was now acknowledged as the spark that set fire to the empire of silence. Investigators revisited the night when Yu Menglong defied the senior official, the night he hurled wine in his face. Witnesses who had remained silent out of fear began to talk. Some confirmed that they had seen the confrontation with their own eyes. Others admitted they had heard the threats that followed. "He'll never work again. We'll make sure of it." These testimonies, combined with the financial records of Yu Menglong's withdrawal from multiple high-stakes projects, built a picture of a young star who had become an enemy of the elite. He was not simply resisting one man, he was resisting an entire system. As the investigation deepened, name surfaced, a household star, for his blockbuster roles and spotless public image, was suddenly drawn into the scandal. His name, when revealed, caused a national shockwave. He had been at the banquet, laughing with the very men who pressured Yu Menglong. He had invested alongside the officials in projects that collapsed when Yu Menglong withdrew his money. And, most damningly, applications were found to contain veiled references to teaching Menglong a lesson. The arrest of this actor, face had graced billboards and whose dramas had once broken viewership records, was a turning point. Fans screamed in disbelief as footage circulated of him being escorted into a police van. "No, not him," some cried online, to the image of their idol. But others, by the truth revealed by Yu Menglong's mother, did the arrest as inevitable. The narrative shifted. If even the most beloved celebrities could fall, then no one was untouchable. Song Yiren's testimony became the linchpin of the prosecution. She described how she was forced to participate in the cover-up, coerced into silence under threat of her own destruction. "I was told if I didn't follow orders, I would share his fate," she confessed, her voice breaking in court. "I didn't kill him. I didn't want him dead. I was trapped, just like he was." Her words transformed public opinion. Once vilified, she was now seen by many as another victim of the same ruthless system. Her image shifted from conspirator to tragic witness. A woman crushed between loyalty to a friend and terror of the men who held her strings. The courtroom became a theater of truth and spectacle. Mother sat silently through the proceedings, clutching a photo of her son. Evidence was displayed showing how Menglong's investments had destabilized major deals. She wept quietly, not because she doubted her son's decisions, but because she knew the cost he had paid for his integrity. Every piece of evidence confirmed what she already knew, that her son's death was not an accident, but a punishment. The public followed every detail with rapt attention. Online, the hashtags Justice for Menglong and Truth Exposed trended daily. Candlelight vigils were held across the country, fans gathering with posters of their fallen star. National outlets framed the story as a reckoning for Chinese showbiz, likening it to Hollywood's most explosive scandals. The difference, they noted, was that this story ended not with whispered accusations but with blood, betrayal, and a murder that could no longer be hidden. Final words of Menglong, relayed by his mother, reverberated like a prophecy. "They won't forgive me, Mom. Promise me you'll tell the truth." Those words became the rallying cry for the entire movement. His mother fulfilled that promise, standing tall despite her grief, turning her sorrow into strength, forced the world to look at the darkness her son had fought against. In the end, the fall of Chen Yuang, the arrest of Zhang Rui, and the exposure of another household actor marked the crumbling of the empire that had long controlled the industry with fear. For the first time, it seemed possible that reform might follow tragedy. Officials promised stricter oversight of entertainment agencies, harsher penalties for exploitation, protection for young performers. Whether those promises will be kept remains to be seen. But the conversation has begun. For Menglong's fans, the wounds will never fully heal. Lost not just a star but a symbol of purity and defiance. Yet his legacy endures. His dramas are rewatched, his songs replayed, his story told again and again as a warning and an inspiration. He became the face of a movement he never asked to lead, the martyr of an industry that devoured its brightest lights. His mother, in her final statement to the press, words that silenced even the most hardened reporters. "My son died because he refused to bow. His death is not the end. His courage lives on in every truth we speak, in every lie we refuse to believe. They killed him, but they only made him immortal. And so, the name Menglong lives on, not just as an actor, not just as a victim, but as a symbol of resistance in a world where silence was once the only option." His story, carried by the voices of a grieving mother and a broken colleague, has become a testament to the power of truth. And in that truth, justice has finally found its place.